It is quiz time. In this video, we will go through the 7 questions of the financial literacy test. In the end, we will take a look at all the solutions, so make sure you watch this till the end. Let's jump right in. The first question here is, suppose you have $100 in a savings account, earning 2% interest per year. After 5 years, how much would you have? More than $102? Exactly $102? Can't say, or less than $102? Here's the second question. Imagine that the interest rate on your savings account is 1% per year and inflation is 2% per year. After 1 year, would the money in the account buy more than it does today? Exactly the same or less than today? Your options are less, same, can't say, more. The next question, if interest rates rise, what will typically happen to the bond prices? Will the bond prices rise, fall, stay the same, or is there no relationship between them? Your options are stay same, fall, can't say, rise. This is a true or false question. A 15-year mortgage typically requires higher monthly payments than a 30-year mortgage, but the total interest over the life of the loan will be less. Your options are true, false, can't say. This is another true or false question. Buying a single company's stock usually provides a safer return than a stock mutual fund. Your options are false, true, can't say. Here's the next question. Suppose you owe $1,000 on a loan and the interest rate you are charged is 20% per year compounded annually. If you did not pay anything off at this interest rate, how many years would it take for the amount you owe to double? Your options are 5 to 9 years, 10 years or more, less than 2 years, and 2 to 4 years. And the last question is, which of the following indicates the highest probability of getting a particular disease? Your options are 25 out of every 1,000 people will get the disease. Can't say. There is a 1 in 20 chance of getting the disease, or 2% of the population will get the disease. Okay, so make sure you have taken notes of your correct options. If you need to, you can go back to a question and pause for a little while you figure out the solution. And for testing yourself, make sure you have written down all your correct options that you would have chosen. All right, so let's talk about the solutions here. So the first question was, suppose you had $100 in a savings account earning 2% per year. So we have $100 and it grows at 2% per year. After 5 years, how much money would you have? So here they have just mentioned interest. Interest can be of two types, simple or compound. Let's take a look at both these conditions. So if it is a simple interest, what happens in this case is for every $100, every year the bank will give you $2. Okay? So in year 1, you get $2. In year 2, you will get $2, 3, 4, and 5. So every year you're getting $2. So at the end of year 5, you would have $10 in interest plus the 100 that you deposited. So in total, you would have $110. If it were compound interest, you would have more than $110 because what happens in compound interest is, let's say you deposited $100, your bank gives you 2% per year. So in the first year, bank gives you $2. In the second year, the bank gives you 2% on the 100, so that is $2 on this 100, plus it will give you 2% on your previous interest as well. So it will give you 0.04 here. So every year you get more and more money accumulating because of the effect of compounding. So even without doing the full math, I know this will be more than $110. And if we take a look at the options, we have one option more than 102, 102, which is wrong, can't say is wrong, less than 102 is also wrong. So the most appropriate answer is more than $102. So the next question was, imagine that the interest rate on your savings account is 1% a year and inflation is 2% a year. So the money is growing at 1% and there is inflation which is at 2%. And inflation is simply the effect of things getting more pricier. So if you go to supermarket and buy some grocery stuff this month and next month the same stuff in same quantity costs you 10% more, you can assume that things are getting expensive by 10% on average. So here we are told that our money is growing at 1% while things are getting more expensive at a rate of 2%. So with the 1% interest I'm getting, my $100 in the bank will become $101. So that is good. However, the things in the market, let's say I am buying a number of things in my shopping checklist. If this is costing me $100 now, due to 2% inflation, the same list of items in same quantity will cost me $102 because inflation is 2%. So with $101, I won't be able to buy all of the things that I want to buy. So I will have to make a compromise and I will end up buying less than what I'm used to buying. So here, the correct option is less. And that is simply because inflation is higher. That is, things are getting expensive at a faster rate than what my money is growing. So in this case, less is the right answer. The next question is, if interest rates rise, what will typically happen to bond prices? So this you need to know that there is an inverse relationship between the price of the bond and the yield of the bond or the interest rate of the bond. So if the interest rate or yield is going up, then the price will go down. And if the yield is going down, the price of the bond will go up. So here the question says interest rates rise, then the price will fall. All right, the next one is a true or false question. A 15-year mortgage typically requires higher monthly payments than a 30-year mortgage, but the total interest over the life of the loan will be less. So intuitively, it makes sense that a loan with a smaller duration, a smaller tenure, should cost you low because you are paying interest over a shorter period of time. But let's go ahead and do some math on this. So I will open this mortgage calculator. You can use the link here. We also have an app on the iOS store that you can use. Okay, so let's do some math on the mortgage payoff calculator. Let's say I have a mortgage of $400,000 and I'm doing the 15-year mortgage first. So the loan is for 15 years. And let's check what is the current interest rate on a 15-year mortgage. I can simply come to this link here, and here I have the mortgage rates as of today. So the 15-year fixed rate is 6.21%. So let me put this number here, 6.21%, and I hit calculate. I get my monthly payment as 3420.98, and the total interest that I am paying is $215,775. So let me take a note of this. So here for 15-year and here for 30-year. So in case of 15-year mortgage, my monthly payment is $3421, approximately $3,421. And the total interest that I'm paying is $215,776 total interest. This is over the entire period of 15 years. Now let's do the math for 30-year mortgage. So let me bring back this calculator, and the loan amount we will assume is same. And then let's check the interest rate for a 30-year mortgage, which is here. So 30-year is 7.06% today. And I change this to 30. And here my monthly payment is $2,677.35. And the total interest payable is $563,845. So here, if I'm comparing, my monthly payment is $2,677 per month. And the total interest is $563,845 over a period of 30 years. So my total interest is this. So if I revisit this statement, it says 15-year mortgage typically requires higher monthly payments. So here it looks like this is true because my monthly payment in 15-year mortgage is higher. Okay. And the second part is, but the total interest over the life of the loan will be less. So the total interest here is 215,000 something. And here I have the total interest 563,000 and something. So here this statement is also true. So since both the parts are true, I will go ahead and pick true here. All right, we have another true or false question. Buying a single company's stock usually provides a safer return than a stock mutual fund. And this is also something you can answer intuitively. Let's say there is just one company, Tesla, and there is a mutual fund which has a lot of companies in it. Let's say it has Tesla, it has Microsoft, it has Apple, and it has another 30 companies, let's say. And the question is asking about a safer return. And to determine a safer return, we need to understand what is the risk on this. The first option, which is just one stock, or the second option, which is a combination of 30 stocks. So if you think about it, there are many things that can happen with just one company, Tesla. Let's say there is a scandal at the company and there is some accounting mistake, there is an accounting scandal, and the company gets involved in a lawsuit. They lose out on revenue, they lose out on market share. The company can actually go down. There can be a natural calamity which impacts one of their production plants. That can also tank the revenues and along with that, the share price of this stock down. So there are many things which are risks specific to a particular company. And if you talk about a market basket of 30 stocks, even if Tesla, let's say, goes down, the revenues are falling, the stock price is falling, there are these other 29 companies which most likely will not fall at the same time as Tesla. So the question was, buying a single company's stock is providing a safer return. So this statement is false. So here my correct option is false. All right, the next question is, suppose you owe $1,000 on a loan. So let's do $1,000 loan. And the interest rate here is 20% per year. If you did not pay anything off at this interest rate, how many years would it take for the amount you owe to double? So this can be done very quickly if you know something which is called rule of 72. What this rule of 72 is, it's more of a rule of thumb than a mathematical rule, but it is sometimes very helpful. So the rule of 72 says the following: the interest rate you have times the number of years or the period equals 72 when principal doubles. So what this means is, if I am putting $100 in an investment account and the investment account is giving me a 9% return per year and I leave it for 8 years, then my account would double in value. So here what I'm doing is, I have a 9% rate, I'm keeping it for 8 years, and I'm letting it compound, then I'm getting $200 at the end of 8 years. So when I'm multiplying the interest and the period, I get 72. So I can use this rule of 72 to back calculate to figure out my answer. So in the question, it says that the interest rate is 20% and it is asking me how many years would it take for the money to double. Okay, so I simply rearrange this equation and I get 72 divided by 20. So that gives me 3.6 years. The mathematically correct answer would be different from this, but to quickly come to a ballpark figure, this rule of 72 works well. So here in this case, the answer is 3.6, and the correct option among these four is 2 to 4 years. This rule of 72 works for compounding your investment. It will also work for compounding your loan. So the question asks for you paying interest on a loan. But if the question was something like, suppose you invest $1,000 and the investment returns you 20% per year, then in how many years would your investment double? So the answer would have been exactly the same. All right, the last question here is, which of the following indicates the highest probability of getting a particular disease? Now, this question might stump you because you might think we were just talking about finance. How did we switch topics and come to discuss diseases? If you take a closer look at the question, it has got nothing to do with medical science or diseases. The question here is this: which of these is the highest probability? And probabilities are expressed in terms of percentage. So let's try and see if we can extract some percentage numbers from these options. So the first option says 25 out of every 1,000 people will get the disease. So the first option is 25 out of 1,000 people. So I can say it is 2.5 out of 100 people, or 2.5%. So the probability of the disease here in option 1 is 2.5%. Option 2 is can't say. Option 3 here says there is 1 in 20 chance of getting the disease. So 1 in 20 is 1 in 20, which is also 0.05, which is also 5%. And the fourth option here says 2% of the population will get the disease. So this option is very clear. It clearly states the percentage, which is 2%. So to find the highest probability, we need to understand which of these numbers is the highest percentage. So 2.5, 5, and 2, it's very easy to pick this option because 5% is the highest here. So I will go for the option which says 1 in 20. This is my correct answer. So how did you do on the financial literacy quiz? Were you able to score 7 on 7? If yes, then amazing, you rock. If not, don't worry about it. The average score on this quiz is less than 50%. So even if you scored 4 out of 7, you did better than the average score in the US. And there is absolutely no judgment here. We are all here learning something every day. If you want to learn more about finance and investing and you want to grow personally and professionally, make sure you follow this channel.